It's known that wine-making grapes are supposed to suffer, but for growers in Australia, the suffering has gotten way too much. Foster's, the world's second-largest winemaker, is now planting Spanish grape varieties and using sprinklers to help their vines survive the hotter weather. And the culprit, it seems, is climate change. Our Bloomberg reporter and also avid vino, Robert Fenner, now joins us for more on the story from our Melbourne studios. And Robert, what's the big deal? So you plant Spanish varieties instead?
Well, in some respects, they're still able to grow grapes in many Australian vineyards, so the wine industry will survive. But what it does mean is that Australian wine is going to change in flavour. Australian wines have done very well with grapes like Riesling, Chardonnay, Shiraz has been perhaps the most recognised of the red grape varieties produced out of Australia. And in some regions, it's simply getting too warm to grow Shiraz grapes, and so what they're finding is it's effectively cooking the vines. So they're trying some of these varieties such as Tempranillo from Spain, Montepulciano from Italy, which are varieties that are traditionally grown in warmer areas, to see if they're going to adapt to what appears to be a warming climate in the Australian winemaking regions.
And does it offend you, Robert, that they're going with Spanish varieties instead of the local Aussie ones?
No, it doesn't offend me. I'm not getting antsy or anything about national pride. I think it's a very interesting issue for the Australian wine industry to face, because Australia gets almost $3 billion Australian dollars. That's more than $2 billion US from wine exports, and it may have to change the way it markets its wines overseas, because if you're making Australian wines with Spanish grapes and Spanish varieties, you've got to compete with the Spanish vineyards, which are doing the exact same thing and have got much older established practices there. So that's one of the challenges for the Australian industry is figuring out, if it's going to go this way, how it's going to create a market for itself.
Rob, still enjoy your vino. That's Rob Fenner on the wine industry in Australia.